gonna try it right here first. I'm on Fort Lousy Reservoir. I don't have a lot of bait, and the bait I got's like 5 days old. According to the fish app, the fish ain't biting today. This is the first creek entrance off the main channel, kind of a hole right here that you come to just outside of the Concord ramp. I'm getting a fairly early start for me. It's like 10:40 a.m. Kind of the end of the morning bite, but still not yet at the hour of suck. So I'm thinking maybe I got a shot at sitting at one spot and pulling in some fish. So I'm picking which is technically a good spot. We're gonna see if anything's here first. There's a couple more like this, and then at that stage I'm gonna go from deep to shallow, do whatever it takes to conjure up a catfish. Hopefully we'll get them all right here and won't have to go nowhere else and spend a bunch of gas. Looks like a good spot. Shouldn't have to go nowhere else if this reservoir wasn't fish slapped to death. Either way, it's what's here, so I'm gonna fish it. People ask, why do you fish Fort Loudoun if it's so bad? Because I live here. I don't want to have to drive all the way to Chattanooga to catch catfish every time I go fishing. Yeah, it's a great place down there. Watts Bar, guaranteed fish every time I go. But sometimes I'd rather just get something close to the house and not have to put all that miles and driving, wear and tear on my vehicle. This place has been fished hard by the people that live here, by tourists, by commercial fishermen, and I'm out here trying to find what's left. Looking for some different scenery. I don't think I've ever made a video here. It's very early October, transition time of year. That can be bad. Now later into October, things are gonna get pretty good. Right now the water temps are still kind of warm, 76. When they start getting in the 60s is when things are gonna get right for that fall bite. Fish are gonna become active. A lot of them will move up shallow. It's around this time of year they'll start stacking up at some of these creek mouths to head into the creek later on into October. So this is the initial stack up spot. So far, we've been here about 8 minutes and ain't caught jack squat. According to my fishing app, the daily rate is 0. But I'm out here anyway, trying to be a catfish hero. So far, we've been here about 12 minutes and ain't caught jack squat. I figured the bite wouldn't be hot just because I'm in Fort Loudoun. The locals call it Fort Lousy. You can get drowsy waiting on a bite right here in Fort Lousy. I'm Mike. Hey. Look. We had a bite right here in Fort Loudoun. He wasn't much, but we seen the rod get a twitch. In case I get hungry, I brought me some cheese. I'm gonna have a piece now. To help get rid of the cheese later, I brought me some prunes. Well, we've been 15 minutes here. Nothing. I mean, there's fish in here. I seen them on that fish finder. But these fish are scared. Right now, as I'm making this video, there's probably 300 catfish boats on this lake right now. So these fish have been feeling the pressure. They're starting to give pressure back. There ain't many left to begin with, but the ones that are left are giving some pressure. They're tired of getting hooked. A lot of these fish that you catch have been hooked 10, 15 times already. Luckily, we got a lot of catch and release guys here, so we can keep sharing the same fish. This is a high pressure area. We've been here an hour, and we ain't catching jack squat. I promise you, there is more boats and people out on this lake than there is fish in the water. Downtown Knoxville, population 570,000. I heard some guy commenting that some other guy was a better flathead fisherman than I was. And you look on his videos, and there's literally nothing out there on the river but him. You don't see houses, you don't see cars, you don't see people, you don't see nothing. He's the only one fishing the river. They still got fish there. Let him come to Fort Loudoun, and let's see how great of a flathead fisherman he is. I see other YouTubers traveling several states away to go down and fish Nickajack, farther downriver, all the way down into Alabama. You see them guys coming here to make videos? Oh no, they need a catfish show. They know if they come here, the bite's been slow. They've probably been here, you just don't know it, because they didn't show that video. I'm gonna show it, because I live here, and these are the waters that are forced upon me. In the 1980s, this was a great place to catfish. If I was making YouTube videos in the 1990s, right here, I'd been famous. But here in 2021, like I say, there's more cat fishermen out here than there is catfish. There's still a few in here, but you're gonna work for them. And there is some fish below me, because I marked them. They're just scared to eat. I'd say they're all skin and bones down there, because they've all been hooked 10 or 15 times already. This is ridiculous. Well, I've had enough of this. Let's go down to the next hole. All right, we're in the same situation, only farther away from the boat ramp. Maybe it's got a little less pressure because some of the smaller boat motors can't get over here quick enough. Maybe guys with 10 horse, 20 horse motors don't fish this spot. That'll take some pressure off it. I guarantee you it's fished, probably 20 times a week. We gonna try it. It is now the hour of suck. It's 12:04. Probably the hardest hour you can fish on the hardest reservoir to fish on the Tennessee River system. We'll sit out here and try deep first, and as the day wears on and things look grim, we'll have to push up into shallower water. Whatever it takes to get a fish out of this fished out place. We had a dink bite on that headpiece right there. I don't know how you're supposed to suspend a bait when that bait's jumping up 5 foot at a time. Fish ain't even gonna be able to catch the bait if he ain't afraid of the bait. And this is what you gotta deal with out here. Those things ain't boats, those are ships. Those things are 20 foot wide, man. I see one of them pulling a boat, but those aren't boats, those are ships. Out here we deal with ships. And I don't know how a fish is supposed to hit a suspended bait when it's jumping this much at a time. And what that'll do is that bait will finally get tangled around the weight to where a fish couldn't get hooked no how. So if the fish is not afraid of your bait, because he's already been hooked 15 times in his lifetime, if he wanted it, he can't even catch it because it's constantly doing like this. I've got about a 1 minute calm spell, and then the waves from that ship are going to be over here, making it impossible for a fish to catch my bait. So if he's going to hit, he better hit quick. It's like being in a wash machine out here, constantly. All right, y'all, typical reservoir situation. It's big, there's a lot of water, there's just a few fish. These few fish could be anywhere, or at least fish that are willing to eat. Hard outside bend, great spot. That's where I'm at. Creek mouths dumping off those outside ledges. I've tried a couple of them. Couple of dink bites, you know, marking a few fish, but nothing big. And obviously nothing willing to eat. So I'm gonna head up into this creek, man, and see if any fish has moved up into this big bay back here. A lot of places they could go, man. Let's try to find them. All right, we're fixing to drag this back bay. Due to the direction of the wind, we're starting deep and going shallower because the wind is blowing this way. That'll keep my boat nice and straight. I've never drugged this bay. I don't know how bad it is to get hung up. We're gonna find out. I'm ready to catch a catfish out of this dag-blasted reservoir. By moving these baits half a mile per hour, it'll give the fish less chance to look at the bait and realize it's something he's been hooked on before. These fish are scared. We don't want to give them much time to look at the bait. We just want to whiz it in front of their face. If I catch a 4-pound catfish out of this place, that's a pretty good day. We're going to be dragging from the 35-foot range all the way up to the 4-foot range. These fish will come shallow in the fall. It's not quite fall, not water temperature wise, but it's close. We know they're not doing nothing out there. Look, look. We had the first bite. Of course, he come off. Hey, that's a positive sign. That bite was in 31 foot. I hope he didn't take my bait off. See how close this boat comes to my planer board. Couple of bites in the 30-foot range. There we go. That one got tasted right there. I caught a catfish in Fort Loudoun Reservoir. I'm gonna get my bait back. You ain't getting it, bud. Woo-wee! Yes, sir. I knew it could be done. Just a whole lot of work. High pressure reservoir. Woo-wee! Fish number 2, under 30 foot, 27 foot right there. 5-day-old bait, got here late, and still catching catfish on a high pressure reservoir. I'm gonna use that same piece over again. Woo! Yeah, we're gonna reuse that bait. Bait's hard to come by right now. Even the skipjack are tough. Woo! We are getting a couple bites down into the 21-foot range, but nothing that can give a solid hookup. We'll keep going just to experiment. While I'm waiting on a bite, I'm gonna eat me a can of bumblebee sardines. There he goes. I believe we're hooked up. I'm kind of glad he didn't stick. I don't want to catch no more fish until I finish this can of sardines. As we get shallower and shallower, the bites get smaller and smaller. Hey, you never know until you throw. That's why I gave this first run a go. Second time around, I'm gonna keep my range within 32 to 27 foot. I was hoping to eat this piece of cheese. Either way, we caught a fish in 17 foot. Ain't much of a fish, but this is Fort Loudoun. You better be happy for anything you catch out here. Woo, this is a prize in this reservoir. This right here is a prize. High pressure catfishing. My planer board's awful close to that sailboat. We almost got hooked up. It's like being in the ocean out here. I seen that bite when I first threw it down. I didn't realize he stuck and then swam and got all my other stuff hung up. There's still a few big fish left in this reservoir, but the ones that have survived and made it over 30 pounds have already been caught 15 times and released, and they're scared to death of a piece of fish. They're scared it's got a hook in it. I'd say the biggest fish in this lake here are up there on the banks, waiting for mice, squirrels, birds, anything else besides a fish to accidentally hit the water. Because the last time they hit a piece of fish, it had a hook in it. So I'd say that's what they're doing now. I need to be dragging shallow, pulling birds and squirrels. And of course, the ones that weren't released, well, they just flat out ain't here no more. And you can bet there's been a whole lot of that. Concord Bridge is empty. That point, I used to couldn't get no more. The reason I got a boat, because it was elbow to elbow and I had no place to fish no more. It's empty. There's nobody there either. They done felt the pressure. Any YouTuber can go get a motel and drive 300 miles down south and catch a big fish, or can be up there in the Midwest or up north somewhere. And every time you see them fish, there's no houses, there's no cars, there's no people, there's no other boats. He's catching fish. Hey, imagine that. But here, population 570,000. Add on to that the people that came from out of town here for the last 3 years. Add on to that the commercial guys that came down here to rape it. And this is what's left. I see tournament after tournament on this reservoir here where a fish under 20 pounds wins the tournament. I'm still gonna come out here because I live here. This reservoir still puts out about one big fish per year between everybody that fishes it. You've seen me go to other places I've never been, catch fish. Way bigger than these I'm catching today. I go downriver. I've been out of state. Don't matter. I always do better than I do right here. If I lived on Nickajack Reservoir or Wheeler Reservoir, I'd be famous. All right, y'all. I done some experiment down there in what used to be the hottest fishing in Fort Loudoun, the Concord area. You seen what I caught. 5 fish, nothing big, but hey, if you catch 1 fish out of Fort Loudoun, you've had a great day. High pressure catfishing. I'm dragging this shallower flat on the way back to the ramp, and then I'm gonna go to the house and get me some real food. This is a video. There was fish in the video. That makes it a fishing video. This is Catfish Dave from Fort Lousy Reservoir, signing out.